Alright guys, still working on the case, the gun rack rather. Now what I had done was, I took some of this stuff here, which you can buy on a roll, find them at the dollar stores or anything like that. If you can't find anything like this, you can always use that non-skid stuff, you know, or whatever, you know. Just got to keep in mind the thickness of this. If you go too thick, it's going to have to be made up in the difference of your cut if you decide to do this. Like for instance, an exercise pad, that would be great, but you want to make sure you have the idea on the thicknesses and the give, so you can kind of have it in between to make it a happy medium. So test it before you do it. Now that same piece of PVC pipe that I used has sandpaper, and in case you guys missed that, I have, I'm sorry guys, I don't mean to be getting you dizzy, but I took a piece of sandpaper and I took a piece of 8-inch PVC and I have it to fit, and this here happened to be about 1.5 inch OD, and at that point I wrapped it around there and taped it, and that was the whole length of the paper with a little extra. And then I was able to get inside all these loops and sand them smooth. Now, seeing that I was going to put this rubber on there, did it really make a difference? No, but if I decided somewhere in the interim not to add that, at least I had a clean surface to work with, you know, in case I just wanted to stain it instead. But I since then decided to do that. But anyway, this worked good to sand that out. Now I took that same piece, because I got tons of this shit laying around. You know, it's always good if you have a workshop of some sort to go out and buy a couple hunks of this stuff, 10 feet tall, 10 feet long. It's three different sizes, how many sizes you think you're going to need. You know, it costs you $5 or $6. It's not super expensive. And you cut it up and you can use it for different things. You know, like I say, sanding. In this case, I cut this little 8-inch piece up and I'm using it to put in here to hold this until the cement dries. Alright, so once that dries, I'll continue on. Now that's where it ended, so I'm going to have a seam there, so I wanted to make sure that that seam was up tight, so I just stuck that in there to hold that. I do have to put a wedge in there though, I want it a little bit tighter. And then I'll cut another piece, and I'll move these, and I'll start finishing it down the line. Yeah, or I can just not be lazy and go out in the back and pick up another piece of this stuff and cut off a few more pieces. But at that point, that's where I'm at, and it works well to hold those in place. And then what I'll do is, once those dry, I'll take them out. I know I got a good tight fit here. I put a staple in each one, a horseshoe staple. Unfortunately though, the air stapler, I had to cut the air way back because it just kept going right through it. A hand stapler, a regular hand stapler, would probably do just as good, if not better. But I wanted something there to hold it in place until I actually got all this done. Yeah. But anyway, that's where we're at. So I'll be taking the wood off the bottom in a minute. That's only down there to hold this tight until the cement dries. And then what I did was I put some of this clear tape down both sides, the top and the bottom, so when I sprayed, I didn't get any overspray on the finishing piece, because once I finish this and paint it, I really don't want to have to deal with any overspray from the glue. So, but that's where I'm at, guys. So give me a few more minutes and I'll be done with it, and then hopefully get it posted. So, alright, here we go, part 2. I'm going to try to link them all as to one, because they're short. But anyway, again, we're back to the gun rack. This is going in a closet, well, which is like a safe closet. It's actually safer than my safe. But anyway, I had no place to put the guns, as I explained earlier. So, well, some of them, I got like 10 or 12 of them that were just stuck in a corner, piling on top of one another, and I figure I can't do that, I gotta get them. So this is gonna go in the closet. So I really don't care too much on how it looks, but however, I want to have it at least decent enough to where if I decide to take it out of the closet, I can just do some camouflage paint to it, and I know it's structurally sound and yet going to work for me. Now, I was telling you about the PVCs. Well, I've got tons of this stuff, like I say, but it's out back. And being lazy, as I am, and don't feel like doing a lot of walking around, I found that these tubes of liquid nail do about the same thing. So I had enough of these laying around, so what I did was I just stuck those in play. So those are going to be there. That's going to be all set. Now to make sure that all this stays down so I can pull it. And I did start using a regular hand staple instead of the air staple, so I can just pop those out. So what I'm going to do now to make sure that these stay down until they cure is I'm going to take this piece of wood here, put it across the top, and I'm going to clamp it down. That'll ensure of these staying in place until the glue and everything dries, and then I should be all set. And I'll get back to you with that in about 10 minutes. You know, as I'm sitting here, I was just thinking of something else. I went to a Harbor Freight a couple years back. I've got one of those about 25 minutes from here. And I noticed some of these little clamps. So I picked up a couple thinking, you know what, just have them around, but you know, they're not going to be good for anything big, but they're good for little stuff. Well, you know, I was just thinking I should have grabbed a lot more, and I probably will. I probably will never use them all again like this, but at this point it's worth having some around, and it gives me a reason to go. Instead of putting little tacks or staples and trying to hold all these in place, I can just put a couple of these in place to help make sure that this is all secure, and I can run them all down there. So how many would I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I think they were like 97 cents a piece. So for that kind of money, it's worth to have a dozen of these things laying around just for that reason. Besides, I need some more clamps anyway. Yeah, I keep them hanging up here over the door, as long as they're not too long. Oh, another thing I use the PVC pipes for. I use them to put wire ties and things in. Right? And a chain link fence. I don't know if I ever showed you that. That's a piece of chain link fence. I hang hammers on it. I hang some of my clamps on it. There's a plane. Here's some pieces of the fence. The staples, they weren't long enough, so I bought a piece of rod, and I made the staples that I needed and the length that I needed, so I can just hang those on there. So having that chain link fence in there, just put a piece of wood, kind of hold it open, and it works well. So, yeah, chain link fence. Hey, buddy, PVC pipe. Who says I'm not a redneck? Anyway, guys, not making fun of anybody, just having fun. Actually can't wait to start heading south somewhere, somehow. I'm getting there, and next year we're supposed to be making a move. So, so far we're looking at North Carolina. Thinking somewhere around the Asheville area. So if anybody has any hints or ideas, somewhere around the Asheville, something close to a very good emergency facility, with maybe a trauma center. Somewhat close to shopping. When I say somewhat close, I'm talking 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm not talking 40 minutes or so, nor am I talking 5. You know, and I would prefer to have, you know, a few nice acres where I can go out back and shoot. Somewhat secluded. You know, I don't care if I can see my neighbors, but I don't want to be able to be looking in their windows. So you kind of know what I mean. You guys live with that all the time. You know, I'm stuck up here, you know, 35 feet away from the next house. And, yeah, I never did care for it, but what are you going to do? Anyway, guys, that's where I'm at with that. Oh, there she be. She done. She's got the rubber across the top, so it's not going to bother and scratch the rifles. She's got a rubber base. And I did a little quick camouflage, and believe me, it was quick. I just ran out back, grabbed some grass, grabbed a few branches, a few weeds, took a few spray cans, and just held it in place, and boom, boom, boom. You know, no planning, just doing. And so that's it. And again, for now, it's just going to go in the safe closet and hold some guns. So I'm going to take it down, put it over there, let it dry, then I'll blow it off one more time with the air hose, because as you can see, I got some dirt, because when I took the weeds, I pulled them right out of the ground and just stuck them there, roots and all. Oh yeah, I did. But anyway, that's it. It's all done, guys. I'll show it to you once I get it in and the rifles are in.